Did Grease make you feel like life was bright, fun, and full of hope? That was only the story on screen. In real life, the past 47 years have been a painful journey for many cast members. From once proud pink ladies to the swaggering T-Birds, all of them were forced to face heartbreak the audience never knew about. And the truth about where they are in 2025 will leave you speechless. Olivia Newton-John as Sandy Olson. Olivia Newton-John was born on September 26, 1948, in Cambridge, England. She was 30 years old when she became Sandy Olson, the sweet girl who transforms into an unforgettable sex symbol in Grease, 1978. The role turned her into a global phenomenon, but her life off-screen took a dark and devastating turn. Her seemingly peaceful marriage to Matt Lattanzi quickly crumbled under the pressure of fame and relentless work demands. After the divorce, Olivia placed her hopes in Patrick McDermott, the only man who made her feel protected, until the day he vanished at sea without a trace. No body, no goodbye. Nothing but a brutal emptiness that broke Olivia, while her daughter Chloe spiraled into addiction. Cancer found Olivia in 1992 and returned again and again, each time more merciless. When it spread to her bones in 2017, she spent her final years in excruciating pain, relying on cannabis oil just to sleep a few hours a night. Even through the agony, she kept singing, kept smiling, kept trying to be a pillar for her daughter. Olivia Newton-John passed away on August 8, 2022, at the age of 73 at her ranch in the Santa Ynez Valley. Her estimated net worth of $60 million was largely left to her own cancer research foundation, the Olivia Newton-John Cancer Wellness and Research Center. John Travolta as Danny Zuko. John Travolta was born on February 18, 1954, in Englewood, New Jersey. At 24 years old, he became Danny Zuko, the rebellious, charming heartthrob who electrified the screen with Greased Lightning in Grease, 1978. But behind the iconic dance moves was a life marked by losses no one should ever have to endure. Travolta's first great love, actress Diana Hyland, died in his arms from cancer, an emotional scar that never healed. His later marriage to Kelly Preston brought joy but also unbearable grief. Their son Jet, severely autistic, died at 16 after a violent seizure. That loss shattered them, driving them into marriage counseling as the media simultaneously hounded Travolta with allegations and scandals that pushed him further into isolation. Each tragedy made him withdraw deeper, and when Kelly Preston died of breast cancer in 2020, Travolta once again stood by the bedside of the woman he loved, reliving the nightmare of 1977. Only this time he had to stay strong for his two surviving children. He kept acting, fighting for roles, from the glory of Saturday Night Fever to his dramatic comeback in Pulp Fiction. In 2025, at age 71, John Travolta lives quietly in Florida, caring for his children, occasionally taking small projects just to keep from feeling empty. His private jets, extensive real estate, and decades of work bring his estimated net worth to about $250 million. Jeff Conaway as Kenickie. Jeff Conaway was born on October 5, 1950, in Manhattan, New York. He joined Grease, 1978, at the age of 27, playing Kenickie, the tough, swaggering best friend of Danny and the proud owner of the legendary Greased Lightning. But behind that rugged smile on screen was a man carrying deep emotional wounds. Jeff's first two marriages fell apart so quickly that people used to say he never truly found a home. His first wife left almost immediately. His marriage to Rona Newton-John, Olivia's sister, ended bitterly, and even his third marriage, which lasted a decade, collapsed under exhaustion and repeated conflict. At the peak of his fame on Taxi, Jeff sank into cocaine, alcohol, and painkillers. He used substances to numb his loneliness, only to let them destroy the career he had built with his youth. The 2000s were a downward spiral he could no longer escape. He drifted between rehab centers, appeared on television barely conscious, slurring his words under the influence of drugs. A devastating hip fracture in 2010 broke him completely. An infection spread, pain became constant, and his mind faded into the haze of prescription medication. Tragically, Jeff Conaway died on May 27, 2011, at age 60, after being removed from life support due to pneumonia, sepsis, and complications from long-term substance abuse. He left the world almost penniless, his net worth nearly zero, after a life of immense talent swallowed by addiction and isolation. Stockard Channing as Betty Rizzo. Stockard Channing was born on February 13, 1944, in Manhattan, New York. She was 33 years old when she took on the role of Betty Rizzo, the sharp-tongued, fearless leader of the Pink Ladies whose emotional scars were as visible as her strength in Grease, 1978. Rizzo's toughness on screen was only a mask for the stormy reality of Stockard's private life. She went through 4 marriages, all ending in divorce, including one that lasted only 3 days. She never had children, never had a family to come home to. Even as her stage and television career soared, she admitted suffering from severe depression, haunted for years by aging and Hollywood's unforgiving treatment of women. Still, she delivered iconic performances, from 6 Degrees of Separation to The West Wing. Past the age of 50, Stockard lived in a state of strength mixed with weariness. Her long-term relationship with partner Daniel Gillum, which lasted over 2 decades, ended when he died in 2014, leaving her alone once again. In 2025, at age 81, Stockard Channing lives mostly in London, appearing only occasionally in select stage productions, continuing to act because it is the only thing that keeps her from feeling like she's disappearing. Her estimated net worth is around $15 million, enough for comfort, but never enough to fill the void that years of heartbreak carved into her life. Eve Arden as Principal McGee. Eve Arden was born on April 30, 1908, in Mill Valley, California. She was 70 years old when she played Principal McGee, the strict but comically charming school headmistress in Grease, 1978. To young viewers, it was a memorable role, but to those who knew Arden from the 1940s and 50s, it was just the final chapter in a 6-decade career overshadowed by deep, personal sorrow. Her first marriage ended painfully, but she finally found true peace with actor Brooks West, her companion, her comfort, the steady presence who helped her survive Hollywood. But their happiness was short-lived. West died suddenly from a cerebral hemorrhage, leaving Arden alone in an empty house. After his death, she fell into emotional exhaustion, insomnia, loss of appetite, and a fading desire to return to the screen. Colon cancer arrived like a silent verdict. It left her in constant pain, drained her strength, and made standing for more than a few minutes unbearable. The cancer spread quickly, triggering heart failure and stripping her body of the ability to fight back. Eve Arden died on November 12, 1990, at age 82 from heart failure and complications of advanced colon cancer. She was laid to rest at Westwood Village Memorial Park. At the time of her death, her net worth was only a few $1,000,000, modest for such a brilliant career, but a reminder that she never lived for money, only for the stage lights that defined her life. Didi Conn as Frenchie. Didi Conn was born on July 13, 1951, in New York. She entered Grease, 1978, at the age of 26, and became Frenchie, the sweet pink-haired beauty school dreamer who brought rare innocence to the film. But Didi's life after the spotlight was not always lighthearted. Her first marriage ended quietly, leaving her with a sense of failure and deep uncertainty about her own future. When she married composer David Shire, she believed she had finally found lasting stability. But life took a painful turn when their son Daniel was diagnosed with severe autism. What followed were years of Didi running back and forth between film sets, hospitals, and therapy centers. She later admitted that she often burst into tears in the makeup room, unsure whether she was strong enough to be both a mother and an actress at the same time. Her fear for her son led Didi to limit her career, turning down major projects so she could be there for Daniel. Even so, the pressure pushed her to work harder on the roles she did take and the causes she supported. Didi became one of the most recognizable advocates for autism awareness. In 2025, at age 74, Didi Conn continues her charity work, occasionally accepts small acting roles, and lives peacefully with her husband. Her estimated net worth is about $7 million, enough for her to live comfortably and devote the rest of her life to her family and to children who share her son's journey. Joan Blondell, as Vi. Joan Blondell was born on August 30th, 1906, in New York City. She was 71 years old when she played Vi, the elderly waitress at Frosty Palace, in Grease, 1978. On screen, under the diner's dim lights, she appeared only briefly, but her eyes, filled with nostalgia and loneliness, perfectly reflected a life marked by heartbreak. All three of Joan's marriages ended in ruin. Her second husband, Dick Powell, the man she loved most, left her for Shirley Temple, a wound that haunted her for years. When she finally found hope with Mike Todd, she was pulled into a whirlwind of violence, arguments, and reckless spending that drained her emotionally and financially. She believed the suffering had ended after their divorce, only to learn a few years later that Todd had died in a plane crash, leaving Joan behind like a woman carrying both grief and abandonment at once. In her final years, Joan continued acting, still smiling, still applying her makeup carefully for the camera. But beneath the powder was a body being eaten away by late-stage leukemia. She pushed through Grease and The Champ as her final personal mission, to prove she could still stand. Joan Blondell died on December 25, 1979, at age 73, passing away on Christmas night in the arms of her children after her strength was finally consumed by leukemia. She was cremated and laid to rest at Forest Lawn Memorial Park in Glendale. At her death, she had only about $2 million left, a small sum for such a luminous career. Barry Pearl as Duty. Barry Pearl was born on March 29, 1950, in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. He joined Grease, 1978, at the age of 28, and played Duty, the awkward, naive T-Bird who won audiences over with those magic changes. The role was short and small, but it stood as the brightest moment of Barry's film career. His life was not marked by catastrophic downfalls like so many of his co-stars, but by a quieter kind of loneliness, the kind carried by someone who spent decades just outside Hollywood's spotlight. After Grease, he never became a star, never had paparazzi chasing him. He simply kept working in theater, teaching acting, and taking small TV roles. Still, Barry never gave up. He held tightly to the stage, to teaching acting to disabled communities, to small touring productions that reminded him he still mattered. In 2025, at age 75, Barry Pearl lives peacefully with his current wife, still teaching, still participating in community arts. He is not wealthy, but with an estimated net worth of about $3 million, he lives comfortably and contentedly. Annette Charles as Cha-Cha Di Gregorio. Annette Charles was born on March 5, 1948, in Los Angeles. At 30 years old, she stepped into Grease, 1978, to play Cha-Cha Di Gregorio, the fiery dancer who snatched Danny away on the dance floor and created one of the film's boldest, most unforgettable moments. But behind the disco lights was a life the public never saw. Annette appeared only in scattered minor roles, then disappeared from Hollywood once she realized the spotlight had not chosen her. While her peers chased fading fame, she quietly went back to school, earned her degrees, and chose to become an educator. Annette's pain began even during the filming of Grease. During the Thunder Road scene, she was suffering from the agony of an ectopic pregnancy. She stayed on her feet through sheer willpower, finished the scene, and was rushed to the hospital for emergency surgery. Life offered little mercy afterward. An unremarkable marriage, a stalled career, and declining health, despite the fact that she never smoked. Annette Charles passed away in Los Angeles on August 3, 2011, at age 63, just 1 year after her Grease co-star Jeff Conaway died. Doctors said cancer had been consuming her slowly, but those close to her said she had been tired for a very long time. She died quietly, leaving behind an estimated net worth of only about $500,000. Heartbreakingly small for someone who once set the entire dance floor on fire. Michael Tucci, as Sonny. Michael Tucci was born on April 15, 1946, in New York City. He entered Grease, 1978, at the age of 32 as Sonny, the loudmouth T-Bird, always cracking jokes but hiding far more shadows than audiences realized. Behind the swagger was a life marked by loss. His brother died of cancer, leaving a void Michael never quite filled. A painful divorce pushed him into a long period where he felt like he didn't belong anywhere. After Grease, Michael continued acting, but always on the margins. From Diagnosis Murder to bit parts on various shows, he spent decades as the man behind the scenes, trying to rediscover himself by teaching high school drama. At one point, he left acting entirely, interned at a law office, and even became an assistant prosecutor. But later admitted he was too sensitive for such a cold profession. He abandoned the black suit and returned to the stage, treating it as his final refuge. By 2025, at age 79, Michael Tucci lives a steadier, quieter life, supported by teaching and occasional small TV roles. He no longer chases the spotlight. All he wants now is peace, after years of emotional turbulence. His net worth is around $5 million. Not a Hollywood fortune, but enough for him to live comfortably and keep Sonny's warm memory alive. Sid Caesar as Coach Calhoun. Sid Caesar was born on September 8, 1922, in Yonkers, New York. He entered Grease, 1978, at the age of 55 as Coach Calhoun, the strict but hilariously explosive gym teacher, a small role carried by one of America's greatest comedy legends. Few could have imagined that behind the strong exterior were the darkest 2 decades of his life. Sid had spent years trapped in alcoholism and heavy sedative addiction, so severe that he once stood by a window multiple times, contemplating ending it all just to escape the torment of his own mind. The towering fame of Your Show of Shows, which earned him the nickname the Charlie Chaplin of television, came with crushing pressure that nearly destroyed him. It strained his marriage, terrified his children, and turned his home into a battleground whenever he lost control. The 20-year addiction cost him priceless opportunities, lifelong friendships, and years that should have been his brightest. But what Hollywood never forgot was 1978, the very year he appeared on the Grease set, because Sid Caesar had finally defeated his addiction. When audiences saw him shouting, laughing, and barking orders on screen, none of them knew that he was doing so completely sober for the first time in 2 decades. Sid Caesar died on February 12, 2014, at his Beverly Hills home at age 91, passing peacefully after a lifetime spent fighting his own demons. He was laid to rest at Mount Sinai Memorial Park. Sid left behind no massive fortune, only the legacy of a legend, something far too valuable to ever be measured in dollars. Jamie Donnelly as Jan. Jamie Donnelly was born on May 8, 1947, in Teaneck, New Jersey. She was 30 years old when she stepped into Grease, 1978, as Jan, the sweet, chubby pink lady with the innocent smile everyone adored. But behind that cheerful exterior was a woman carrying far heavier notes, a broken marriage that left her in years of quiet, emotional collapse and halted her career. Her mother's sudden passing nearly destroyed her, forcing Jamie to step away from the stage for a long period just to learn how to breathe again after such a devastating loss. Many viewers assumed she led a gentle, easy life, but Jamie fought hard to stay in the industry and behind-the-scenes roles, From theater to voiceover work, jobs far from the spotlight, yet enough to keep her connected to her love for performing. She famously had to dye her prematurely gray hair to play Jan, a small detail that reflected a deeper truth. Jamie spent years hiding her anxieties and exhaustion so she could bring laughter to others, even when her own heart was breaking. By 2025, at age 78, Jamie Donnelly lives more peacefully in California, working as an acting coach, her way of passing warmth to the next generation. Her net worth is around $2 million, enough for a quiet life, though her greatest treasure will always be the memory of Jan. Eddie Deezen as Eugene. Eddie Deezen was born on March 6, 1957, in Cumberland, Maryland. He was just 21 years old when he became Eugene Felsnick, the nerdy, bullied kid who unexpectedly became one of Grease, 1978's most memorable comedic souls. But off-screen, Eddie never got the happy ending his character did. Hollywood's pressure broke him early. He struggled to memorize scripts, couldn't handle live audiences, and crippling anxiety quickly destabilized his on-camera career. He switched to voice acting, Dexter's Laboratory, Kim Possible, The Polar Express, building an entirely new legacy, yet even success couldn't fill the growing loneliness inside him. As he reached middle age, Eddie's life took a darker turn. His mental health deteriorated, leading to increasingly erratic behavior, getting arrested for disorderly conduct at a restaurant, trespassing at a retirement facility, and multiple run-ins with police between 2021 and 2024. Eddie spiraled out of control, unable to distinguish right from wrong. In 2023, he made headlines for allegedly harassing a waitress and posting frantic, disturbing messages online. By 2025, Eddie Deezen lives quietly in Spartanburg, South Carolina, after several psychiatric treatments and recovering from major heart surgery in 2020. He occasionally writes trivia articles to keep himself grounded. At 68, he has almost fully withdrawn from entertainment, surviving on residuals from voice acting, with a modest net worth of about $2 million, tiny compared to the storm his life became. Dinah Manoff as Marty. Dinah Manoff was born on January 25, 1956, in New York City. She was only 20 years old when she transformed into Marty Maraschino, the glamorous, sly pink lady and the youngest member injecting sharp, youthful energy into Grease, 1978. But beneath that confidence was a youth marked by loss. Her father died young, leaving an immense void, while the pressure of being Lee Grant's daughter made Dinah fear she'd never be good enough. Her first marriage collapsed just as her career was taking off, pain that pushed her to bury herself in work as a way to escape loneliness. Roles in Ordinary People and I Ought to Be in Pictures won her a Tony, yet behind the spotlight, she always returned to the heavy silence of someone who had lost peace in love. Life grew even harsher as she got older. Becoming the mother of 3 sons should have been joy, but fate dealt a cruel blow when her eldest son, Dashiell, died in a 2017 car accident. The tragedy shattered her. Dinah withdrew almost entirely from Hollywood, disappearing into long stretches of quiet where grief had no name. In 2025, at age 69, Dinah Manoff lives a private life on Bainbridge Island, Washington, rarely appearing in public and teaching acting only when she is emotionally able. Her net worth is around $5 million, but the price she has paid in heartbreak is far greater than any number could measure. Kelly Ward as Putzie. Kelly Ward was born on November 17, 1956, in San Diego. He stepped into Grease, 1978, at just 21 years old playing Putzie, the youngest, most innocent, and most endearing T-Bird. Putzie's bright, cheerful energy made audiences assume Kelly must have led an easy, carefree life, but right after Grease, he realized he didn't quite fit under the Hollywood spotlight. His on-camera acting career didn't blossom the way many expected, leaving Kelly with years of self-doubt, the painful feeling of being left behind while his castmates soared. The insecurity became so overwhelming that he once considered leaving Hollywood for good. But those lost years unexpectedly opened a new door, the world of animation. Gradually stepping away from performing, Kelly became one of the quiet but essential voice direction forces behind Disney television animation. Hundreds of episodes of Mickey Mouse Clubhouse, Jake and the Neverland Pirates, and Star vs. the Forces of Evil bear his signature. This became his way of healing. He no longer needed to stand in front of the camera as long as he knew some child's laughter somewhere existed because of his work. By 2025, Kelly Ward is still happily married to the woman he wed in 1978. At 68, he teaches musical theater at the University of Southern California and lives a peaceful, steady life with a net worth of about $5 million, perhaps the quietest and most stable life of the entire Grease cast. Edd Byrnes as Vince Fontaine. Edd Byrnes was born on July 30, 1932, in New York City. In 1978, he was 46 years old when he played Vince Fontaine, the slick, charming TV host whose smooth delivery became an unforgettable part of Grease. It was a small role, but a meaningful one, marking the return of the teen idol who once set America ablaze in 77 Sunset Strip. Yet behind that polished exterior lay decades of battle with darkness. Edd grew up in a violent household. His alcoholic father died when Edd was only 13, leaving emotional scars that followed him for life. In Hollywood, being typecast came at a devastating cost. After Grease, Edd drifted through failed relationships, years of obscurity, and a constant struggle to escape the kooky image audiences never let him forget. Throughout the 1960s and 70s, relentless rejection, loneliness, and mounting work pressure pushed him to the breaking point. The once beloved star who received 15,000 fan letters a week faded into someone the public barely recognized. Exhausted from continually having to prove himself, Edd Byrnes spiraled into a career decline. His marriage fell apart, subsequent relationships dissolved quietly, and he eventually went to Europe to survive by acting in B-movies. When he returned to the U.S., he was given only minor guest roles, fleeting faces on screen. In his later years, he lived so quietly that many forgot the smile that once captivated a nation. Edd Byrnes passed away on January 8, 2020, at his Santa Monica home, aged 87, from natural causes. His net worth at the time of his death was estimated at around $2 million, a small number compared to the stardom he once tasted. 47 years have passed, and the dazzling smiles of Grease have given way to real-life stories soaked in tears. Some were lucky enough to find peace, while others paid with their youth, their health, and even their lives. Whose story shocked you the most? Do you want to uncover even more untold secrets of the Grease cast? If so, make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you won't miss any of the heartbreaking yet truthful journeys ahead.